Welcome everyone. We are Clean Slate Showrunners. It's a podcast where the slate is clean and I am keen to have conversation with some of the most amazing people. Welcome to the Clean Slate Show.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Take one clap.
Maybe set on him. And then, to me, you have to go a little bit, keep your hands to yourself. So, alright, we can start, right? संभळायचं बरोबर.
Take one clap. Clap.
Yeah. Maybe if we what do you guys do for happiness?
So what do you define happiness?
List. You know, my neighbor was asking, right? Yeah, you तुम्हारा घर में बड़ा box है. I was like, mind your life.
Yeah, I know.
You know how much we returned after we buy it in?
No, it's not a question about bothering me. I think the impact of social media in our lives is not healthy. It is very toxic. If somebody is skydiving from 10,000 feet somewhere in Asia, why do I need to see it?
When we came to US, we did jobs that pretty much we would have not done it if we were in India. For example, my first job was working in a dish room and I worked for like 4 or 5 months.
There was no stigma when we came here. Nobody knew us. Like me and Neil started like jobs. Like I work in a liquor store. He was working in 7-Eleven. We used to laugh and we used to have fun.
Right. I think me and Neil know we know each other from childhood, right? Yours, I don't know so much about you. I know briefly. Like how was you like when you were growing up? Were you like studious?
Never. I think I was more playful, more naughty. Like I used to do like pranks and stuff throughout the day.
And he
In
is
school.
technically the most educated between three of us.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He has
Backbencher. He was a backbencher.
I was a backbencher.
Yeah, I was a backbencher.
I was probably middle bencher.
I was a backbencher forced to be sitting in like the front because like I was like too mischievous. I was out of the class most of the time than in class.
Okay. All right. So when I know when we introduced,
But like
yeah.
it's different, right? Like what we used to do, like mischief and like all that stuff. Right now they don't consider that as mischief or some like Right now the age is so different. Like if you see like some videos and stuff, reels and stuff, like how kids behave with their teachers, we would never think of behaving like that, or we would get slapped out.
So
Slapped.
no, slaps is good.
No, he
Slap
meant
means
slapped from the
welcoming.
90s.
Okay, 90s.
Literal.
Okay.
Our time,
Literal.
millennial term. We'll get beating
Yep.
if we do anything wrong, right? Yeah. And then even I think so what is very, very interesting is even the way we came here in the US is quite different for all three of us. So we all three of us have
I
a
think
different.
for me and him, it's very similar.
Yes.
Oh, you guys both had the
Yep.
the
So we
green
came
card route.
through like our family.
Family. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like his Masi did and my mama did, so it's like almost maternal
Right.
side of the family did. So
Yes.
Okay.
his mostly maternal side of family is here, my maternal side of family is here. So it's like very similar.
Similar.
So
Similar
I think
story.
like when we clicked, I think it was like few things. Like we came around the same time.
Yeah.
We came from the same city. We knew like around the same colleges and stuff.
Right.
And I think it is like very like very organic and like
very, very
like
unexpected.
we didn't have to put any effort to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
meet or talk or
Right.
anything. It just like connected.
we
and
just met. And we met through a friend too.
Yeah.
We met through a friend and that friend is no longer in our lives. Not that he's gone.
No
but
longer in
he's
our
just-
lives.
Yeah.
In
Kind
our
of we
lives.
knew
Yep,
that
yep.
person too was a big.
Yeah.
No,
But
I think this friend.
this
I don't
friend-
think so. You.
yeah,
even
yeah.
know
Okay.
her.
Yeah. So that's what, right? He was the way that we met. We unexpectedly met.
You guys met in Rutgers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In
first,
library.
First, exactly. The first semester of college, this friend of ours introduced us, and he said that, oh, you guys are from the same city. So that's how I was introduced to him,
Okay.
Yep.
and then
And
the rest
like-
is history.
Yeah, he wanted to like he was telling us during the class he was a common factor between like he was not in one of my classes and he was in one of his classes.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he's like, oh, like you guys should meet. And there's another friend.
Yeah.
So we were like 3 people from the same city starting the college at the same time
Right.
in Rutgers, Newark. So I think it was like very hilarious that after like few years we lost that guy who introduced each other.
That's yeah.
And then the
then
other guy too, who we
Yeah.
were friends with,
Right.
and then the two of us
stuck.
Stayed
stood
together.
still since 2008. So it's
Yeah.
what 16 years now.
Right.
Yep.
There was a very specific reason why I wanted you guys to come because between three of us, there is always this line of friendship, and then it starts getting blurred, and then you cross over.
Yeah.
And then there is no more friendship. Then we just become like
Family.
or even sometimes more than that, right?
Yeah.
Because things that we talk, we normally would not feel comfortable even bringing it up in anybody else's life, right? So knowing each other, the dynamics is a very interesting thing, right? But so for Neil, there's this amazing application called as Instagram. You exchange pictures.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I
where I'm
used
going
to.
with this?
Yeah, I used
Yeah.
to.
So Dhrumit was the only person who did not. He kind of stick together. He was loyal to social media.
Nah, I think I was like, it was not bothering me at that point. Like, I think you just guys wanted to we are wasting so much time. I think for me, for social media, some of the information I get, I would never gotten that information if I did not watch social media.
No, watch Times of India.
That doesn't give you like.
I was still ahead. We were still ahead of our wives telling us what's going on Instagram.
And it's just like learning curve, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's certain stuff like that you learn just like looking at it rather than like reading it. For me, visual is much more important than reading.
But also, the term social media is quite different for different people, right? Because for me, it's quite limited to like social apps like your Instagrams and Facebooks and Snapchats. That's social media for me.
Can we start? Why did you quit social media? You quit social media.
Yeah, I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Snapchat. I'm not on Facebook.
But you're on X.
I don't even have X. No,
Okay.
not on Instagram and
I
not
think
on
he's
Twitter.
completely sober
I'm
now.
completely. It's been
Why did you quit social media? What happened?
just
to
like
you?
he said. It was just waste of time. A and
He didn't
B.
say that.
It was waste of time. He said that.
Nah, I just said like using.
Yeah, I was
Or
wasting a lot
like-
of unnecessary time there, and you realize that you don't. But when you
Gain-
actually
yeah,
check
you
your
get-
phone at the end of the day, you feel like
I think my
really
wife
you
always
spent-
think that I use a lot of phone.
Yeah.
And, like I'm always in the phone.
Yeah.
And I'm stuck to my phone. Like I married my phone rather than marrying her. So.
yeah, it's very addictive.
That's normal.
yeah.
And then
Everyone thinks that.
And
all women, all wives think
and,
about that.
and,
I
and,
think-
and secondly, the reason why I quit, and I realize that now, it's just that social media life is so superficial. It's not real. It's other people are trying to show their best bits to you, to
Right.
the world, that, oh, we are doing this is so amazing. But that's not really who they are or what their life is all about. And it's just a competition. It's a constant competition
think
between
if-
it to one up the other.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, the biggest thing is, like, do you get influenced by looking at
Yes.
somebody's social media posts?
Yes.
Like, I
Yes.
personally don't get, like, if somebody, like, oh, I'm traveling here, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's good for them.
Yep.
If they can travel, it's
Yep.
their life, I'm happy. Like, I don't get carried away, like, okay, I'm not saying they're 100%, but, like, 90%, I would say, like, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And, like, let it be. I live my life, let them live there. If they want to post it, they can. Like, I'm on all these apps, but I don't post that much. That's not my thing.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I like very limited, or some once in a while I would do it, but not like, oh, morning I wake up like, hey, good morning, like, like I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you get paid for do that? Would you do it?
Depends how much.
Whatever is your money, like $1,000 per
Then
post.
also I think it's
Would you
like
post it?
posting is like, a lot of effort. Like when you do the podcast, it's like also editing, like taking 15 shots, making sure which one is the best, and putting captions and stuff. I think I might do it or might not do it. It's like it all depends on like how I feel at that time.
Also, can I say one thing?
You can say whatever you want, man.
So, would you influence or not? That's the question. Yes or no?
I'm not an influencer.
Okay.
Would you
So
influence?
Nope.
I would.
think
I would. And the reason and the answer to that is I would influence, but I don't necessarily be on. I don't necessarily need to be on social media to influence. I can influence you. You're on social media. You can promote me.
But
I
the
don't
thing is,
I don't necessarily need to
it's not
be
about
on
like-
Instagram to influence other people.
But you have to be in the game to play the
Yes.
game, right? Like if
That's what I'm
if you're
gonna say.
not, yeah, go ahead.
then I'm just saying like the same thing. If you want to be influencer, the medium where you can connect the people, if you're not on there, you cannot.
I'm not saying I want to be an influencer. I'm saying, do you want to influence people? They're two different things in my opinion.
But see, you can only
You cannot live your life. I'm saying cannot live my life as an influencer. I can do something that may influence somebody, as an aspect of my life that may influence somebody, and then you can promote that part of my life. But I cannot be a social. I cannot be a social media influencer to answer that question.
fair
But I
point.
think it's two different things in my opinion. And then, like I said, superficial life. right? And ever since I had children and my son, I realized that we all have very finite amount of time in our hands. I'd rather spend that time doing something that I really enjoy, and then I don't have to keep up constantly competing with other people, like this what we're doing today. I'd rather do this than go watch something on my phone for 2 hours or 3 hours, because that's a conscious decision that I'm making. I have finite amount of time
Right.
with me. I want to spend it the way I want it with the people that I wanted.
Right.
And social media, that Instagram, whatever, Snapchat wasn't my cup of tea.
Snapchat, I don't use that much.
Whatever. I'm just.
don't need me.
I think it's more Gen Z app. So
that
that's
it is.
But
so
it's-
like there are these new apps. Like I just found, like I was reading yesterday on, like I think it was CNN or something. Somebody created an app. It's called Phone Condom.
Okay, what does it do?
I'm guessing.
Is
It's an app
for phone
that would-
sex?
No,
Nah.
it would block everybody's camera and microphone while having the intimate moment. It opened, like somebody created in Germany,
Okay.
and it's basically a lot of people are getting like this media buzz of like leak videos and stuff. So they wanted this app so you can like block everybody's phone, microphone, anything inside. It just stops everybody's microphone. and
I also know
camera.
a different phone condom. You just put the phone in a different room.
No, but if somebody has the
Yeah.
phone,
But
how
see,
would he
he's
know?
again making a point though. He is on social media, so he knows that there is something like this. We don't know. I don't know that. I didn't know that.
I just read on Twitter, I think it was on like X, then they had like somebody is like, oh, the world has came to that level that people doesn't trust each other all the way, like they can be intimate.
That
or
is scary,
something.
man.
So-
Sometimes when I say something about something, and then all of my feed start, coming up and showing me
Oh,
more and
man,
more of
that's
that.
the craziest thing.
And I am such a easy person to convince. I just start buying. That's why I just, that's the worst thing.
I think your phone definitely listens to you 100%. They take the data. Also, like people, like if you say like, oh, I'm not gonna post like pictures and stuff, everything is up in there, like like cloud or whatever you say,
Right.
and they can access all your pictures and anything. There is no privacy.
True.
If they want to do it, they can. They know like your social security, you like where do you live, like even if you just Google your name, they will like have your address, your phone number, your who are you related to, their phone number, their addresses.
Yeah.
Show also, by this show, this is, by the way, I want to do this because I want to like try and share knowledge, and that's why the guests who come here, I always, in my mind, you guys are already superior. That means I can have so much I can learn from you guys, right? So let's talk about inclusivity, right? Rather than a social media topic. Most of the kids or most of kids growing up, they do certain things because they want to be relevant. They think that posting something, sharing my life on social media, showing my lifestyle, like my clothes, my cars. If I do that, I'll be included, right? Like I'll give you an example. You're already at a stage right now in your life where you have already overcome that FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. Like for example, me and Dhrumit, and it's really funny. Like some of the Instagram reels are really funny. It cracks us up, like
I think it's like the content, like the people thinking that level of
the
content, creativity, and putting together,
Right.
where it's like 20 seconds. You have 20 seconds to make an impact on somebody's mind,
Yeah.
and they're using the 25 seconds or 20 seconds so precisely.
Yeah.
Where I forward that same thing real to like, oh, this people, because I think like, oh, it applies to everybody.
Correct. So now the point was, to your point, right? Like when we are, like so me and him are talking because we know what we are laughing about. We will show you when we actually get to meet you, and these times when it's, there's a rumor going out that I started this podcast so I can get three of us can sit and talk on something, because you never get this time
Right.
with our kids and happy this lifestyle, right? How do you handle that? Because now you're missing out. What me and him are going to laugh about, we both will know because we have seen that, we have shared it on social media.
I don't feel anything. I don't feel. So first of all, I remember, I keep talking about this term JOMO to you, right?
Yeah.
I don't have FOMO, I have JOMO,
Right.
right? In certain things, it's joy of missing out.
Right.
Because I don't want to know everything. I'm content with knowing as much as I can, and I'm happy with it. I know what my priorities are. I know what my life revolves around. I'm happy with that, yeah. The less you know, sometimes it's better. Like he said, everything is out in the open. Everything is in the cloud. It's overwhelming for people.
But he's mentally strong.
No,
Kids
we
and
are all-
everyone, they are not that. They always do certain things because they want to feel included.
But that's why
So
you
what
have.
do you suggest? What's the best? Because Maturity can only come.
I think upbringing.
Exactly.
I think
okay,
the
and-
biggest thing upbringing, I would say, like when you're raising your kids, I have my old, like 3-year-old is gonna get 3 years in November. But I think like what I see is like how you act, they absorb. So if you are like, oh, this person did that, oh, let's do this, then your kid is gonna learn the same thing. I think when my upbringing, like, okay, if somebody goes out and like we would not go out, but we would not be like, oh, why they're going out everywhere and like why we are not, because we knew what's going on in the family or what our status is, what we do. So we never thought like, oh, if somebody has like car, we need to have a car.
Exactly my point. You just proving my point that you can influence people. You don't need to be an influencer or a social media influencer. You influence your kids, and that's upbringing, right? The way you.
let's be real. Where the world is going, you will not have control. Right now, you are doing whatever you can at this point, right? Most of the kids, when they cross like 8-10 years, when kind of you start taking a back seat, they start having friends, whatever friends, and you can't control what your son, my son, your kids will make friends with.
So
How do you? Yeah, go ahead.
so like perfect example, a lot of the kids in Vedant's class, they have like tablets and stuff. Like he always comes and asks like, oh, why can't I get tablet? I think I had the same question when I was growing up. There was cell phone. Everybody had cell phone like when they were in college. I did not had it for like 2 years. I had the same question, and like the answer I always get, when you deserve it, you're gonna get it.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
And like they would understand eventually, saying that, hey, if like we do certain like, okay, most of the kids, like I'm not saying it's bad or good, it's the way you like tell them, saying that, okay, like the backstory behind like, oh, why you should not have a tablet or why you should have tablets.
Right.
So I think that's what it is. It's like you can tell they might not say yes or they might not be 100% agree to what you say. They might just respect you, not like argue. But
Right.
that's like give and take situations.
Like social media, like I'll tell you my experience sometimes, right? I don't get carried away as easily now anymore. After my years of not being on social media, I've learned to better adapt to it, right? But I know people around me, how they get influenced, right? They read something and there are like so many posts about like, yo, you should not do this with your kid. Instead of do these 3 things and then do this. We lose our organic parenting, and we try to get, what social media tells us. Oh, this is good for the kids because I read this in the post. How parents do that?
Yeah. So I think the biggest example for me would be saying that, hey, like when we had our first kid, all of us around the same time, they're like, oh, put them to sleep at 7 o'clock.
Right.
Like everybody, like, like, oh, every post. I think Vedi was the first one, my wife, like, she was like, no, we cannot just change everything around them. Like, we just like train them to adjust it based on the, like, oh, if it's 7 o'clock, they can go to sleep. If it's 9 o'clock, they can go to sleep. If you make it a routine, kids are like very spongy, right? They would absorb what you say. Once you try the training, you need to be 100% in. Like, okay, every day, 7 o'clock, I'm gonna make them sleep. But if something happens, if I meet you guys and like, we are talking, and if it's like 8:30, like you don't want kid to go crazy, saying that, hey, like I just want to sleep, because we are trained them so much. So you have to keep them adjusting, saying that, okay, today you're gonna be 7, tomorrow is gonna be 8, or like, depend on what's going on.
Right.
So I think that's what I learned. Like influentials, like, most of social media posts you see like, oh, put your kids as like sleeping at 6:30, like, dinner at 6:30 and 7.
Right.
But it doesn't work for everything. So you have to adjust on what you really want your kid to do, or what is your home life. A lot of people doesn't go out after 7. That's okay. But are we like that people? Like, we're not going to go out or we're not going to do anything. No. If we are that kind of people, then we should not train the people, like, adjust your kids or like tell them or discipline in a way where it's like, oh, because of like they don't go out at 7 o'clock, we should also stop going out at 7 o'clock. It
Right.
should not be a boundary for you.
Okay.
You need to make sure that your kids are adjusted to the environment.
Right.
You don't adjust to your kids' environment.
Okay. So he brought up a point about like kids, and again, I think that's what I think it's going, right. Schedule or not schedule, I think to each its own.
No, I'm not saying that.
No. Your point is actually very good, and I see in life everything is a debate. There is never a definitive yes or a no answer. It is, even for yes or no, we are following it because it has been passed on to us from somebody else. So at that point, even for them, it was a debate, and maybe a strong majority group of people would have said, okay, this is the right way of doing it. So it became like a rule, right?
Yeah, it's
So
like,
it's
but then there are people who think that, okay, does it make sense to you? Yes or no? If it doesn't make sense, then rule is not like, you should not follow it if it doesn't make sense to you. The same thing goes in everything of your life. If somebody tells like do this, 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 does it make sense to you? Does it like logically make sense to you?
right.
I think right now what has happened like in this day and age, a lot of people has lost logic. Like they forgot the biggest like most like
The
common
basic,
thing.
yeah,
There's no common sense remain. Like it's like, oh, if this person is doing is right, but they're not like putting the logic if like what's the background of that person,
Right.
what they have, what they are trying to achieve.
right,
Like you cannot apply his logic to my logic, or what he does, like whatever you do, I cannot just use on myself,
right,
because every person is different. You have to change it.
right,
You need to use your common sense, you need to use your logic and everything. So
right.
Good. I mean, good point.
Yeah.
I'm very neutral in that sense.
I'll tell you, when I started, I was kind of on schedule and everything. And we're not like as like, okay, 7 or 8 o'clock, or that's not discipline. That's not like schedule. I know, or I understand. I do it because we want to get them comfortable with like the sense. So for example, like 8, 9 o'clock, start getting tired so that you're gonna, or just start understanding in your mind that you have to go to sleep at some point, right? And then we let them enjoy on the weekends,
Yeah.
Then don't have
So,
anything
like,
going on. Just
I think why
relax.
I felt like I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Everybody has their own way.
yeah, absolutely.
When I was growing up, I never remember a day when my parents said like, oh, like my son has to go to sleep, or my brother has to go to sleep, or my kids are like tired, let's go home.
Right.
I think I remember staying late till like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock with my parents, going out and stuff.
Yeah.
And that has created memory, a person what I am,
Right.
rather than saying that, okay, like, oh, like I don't want to do it.
Right.
Like, I think what happens when you start, like, I'm not saying that it happens for everybody. I think it's like when you schedule, person gets boring at certain point.
Schedule. Okay. Yeah.
I think if you really want like a kick in your life, you keep like changing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I'm very neutral about this thing. I have one of each. One kid who's a king in his own life, and then the other one who's obviously very tied to a schedule. The reason why I'm playing a devil's advocate here is because it was different when it was just Bindya and I.
Right.
Things were different. When we had Neve also, it was manageable. Like he said, we do things our way. But when you have two
Yeah.
young kids, managing them, putting them to bed, handling them in the evening, it gets very tiring.
Right.
Not to forget, we work. We go to work. We have a life of our own. We have schedules of our own. We have days of our own. When you have a good day, you're a bad day. So what that schedule allows somebody like us is that you kind of put one person to like out of your way, so to
Right.
speak,
Yeah.
and you have the rest of the evening to take care of the other one. So then you at least have an hour or two in the evening by yourself and your spouse. You could do whatever you want in that hour. You could watch TV, or you can watch your shows together, whatever. I think that just brings sort of a sanity into our lives. I think that's why I'm saying I'm playing a devil's advocate, because we weren't like this before, but I think we quickly realized that one or two is twice the chaos. So as long as the chaos is controlled, we don't mind it.
Plus, if you have a blessing in the first child and second turns out to be like
Which is your example.
yeah,
Right?
like I had second
Yeah.
my Shiv is like next level right now, and we are still trying to come to adjusting with his energy. Even Zayn is trying to adjust with his energy. It's like sometimes it gets bad, and when you two kids, one gets sick. So most of the time, I think for the first 1 or 2 years, I'm just anticipating it's going to be sick all the time, because one goes out, he brings something inside, and then other two get sick, and then next thing you know, the whole house is sick.
Yep.
And that's what happens. And now we're entering our this
Peak
time of the
flu
year
season.
Yeah. So all right, let's deviate a little bit. People, how to stay happy, and I think
I think
you guys answered it.
Comparing to somebody else, it's where you lose your happiness. Stop comparing. Just do whatever you do. Might be good, might be bad. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Just keep on doing it. You're gonna be happy. Just when you start comparing, saying that, hey, this guy is like doing this, why can't I do this? Or let me just like replicate it.
Right.
I think that's when your happiness keeps going down. I think comparing and just like trying to say like, oh, I need to do this because he is doing it. That
Right.
would be the first wrong thing. First thing, like you should not do it. That's where you're gonna like lose your sleep. You're gonna lose your happiness. You're gonna lose your mind.
I'm just smiling sitting here because he's proving everything that I just said 20 minutes ago about constantly trying to
Influencers.
one up other people.
But the thing is, that's what I'm saying. Like social media, does it bother me? No. If it bother you and you stop, then
No.
then it's a control issue for
It's
me.
it's not a question about bothering me. I knew that this was not right. What was the impact of social media in our lives is not healthy.
So you're saying it's more toxic.
It is very toxic. It is, I mean, toxic because I can clearly identify, just like you can, that you only absorb the information that you need. That's the exact same way that I said that I don't need this kind of crap in my life. I don't need to. If somebody is skydiving from 10,000 feet somewhere in Asia, why do I need to see it? I mean, good for you.
It's good. To
Good for
see
you.
it. I'm like,
Good for you, but I'm not going to be influenced by that. But like, you don't need to show 10,000 people that, oh, I skydove. I did that when I did that 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I put a video about this and I was like, oh, this is so cool. But really, retrospectively, it's so stupid. I mean, why do other people want to watch me die from a plane? 10,000 and nobody.
But
this is
people,
shit.
but
it's
people,
a memory too, right?
It's a
Like,
yeah.
to be honest, like
Yeah, it is.
social media also is a memory conservator or like a
It's
locker.
like a cloud.
cloud, yeah.
Yeah, because right now, like on your phone, I would have like a notification like 6 years ago and stuff. When you see some pictures about us, like doing stuff, it makes you nostalgic. Like oh, like like it was fun day.
Yeah, Apple does
Like you
that
know
too
how
now.
many time you go back to your phone like 6 years ago, or like oh, like Facebook reminds you some days, like Instagram, like oh 5 years ago and stuff like that. I think it's a good thing, like to put the memory out there. So sometime you might be in a bad mood and you're gonna see something and you're gonna make crack you up. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's to each its own. That's why I
Yeah.
think social media is so powerful if you use it right. But if you cannot handle it, it's okay to be not on it.
Yeah,
And just like live your life, do your thing. And posting also like the same thing. I mean, if you, I don't understand. I don't understand why people post their personal
But let me
life.
ask you: when you post, do
but-
you constantly check? Oh, how many likes did you get? What did
man, I
people
don't
say?
care.
What do you?
I think you do. People do because otherwise, what's the point of posting it?
Exactly.
it doesn't matter. Like if like somebody commented like oh did you have fun, I would answer it because like I'm not gonna be like oh how many people liked my post, how many friends I have. Like I don't even remember like how many Instagram friends or Facebook friends. They're not like
How do you decide what do you want to put on social media?
what I like at the bottom of my heart. If I like something, like some moment that oh I want to remember this after like 10 years, I'm not gonna go and check my phone 10 years ago, but it's gonna pop up one day. I'll post that. That I can be okay with posting that and seeing after 10 years.
So you will be able to relive the memory. You think
Or anything which I post, saying that
Right.
okay, if I'm gonna like write something, I wanna stand by that writing after 10 years. If I don't feel it's right, then I should not do it.
funny thing is, I to prepare for this episode, I went back as far as like Orkut page. I didn't find the login, so I couldn't log in. But I had a very vivid memory because I was looking at from Shivani's thing. I checked my Facebook because I don't use Facebook. I mean, I don't use it anymore, right? It's been years since even before I went to not using social media, I was not using Facebook anymore. But I was looking at some of the things that I posted, and my point of view about the world was so. I don't represent a lot of it.
Yeah,
Um,
always gonna be there. But
And impulsively, when you write something there,
I think initially when Facebook started, it was very cool to just write random stuff. Oh, I'm going to my like this class. Oh, I'm getting bored. I
Yeah.
think like a lot of stuff. I think we initially wrote. We did not knew what social media was to start with. I think it was just like a point to conversation with friends. Oh, like my exam is gonna come, or like oh, I'm gonna like prepare for this, and people like your friends would like start posting it and make fun of it, and we thought that's what social media was. It has evolved day and night, and that's why we think like our post doesn't make sense Because I think when we started, it was just evolving. It was just the like start of the iceberg. Now you can see that bottom of the iceberg. It's like keep growing and growing, and it's like
Right.
if you keep going, it's so many things that you can do it, but nobody realized at that point.
But
So
do you stand by what you said on Facebook 10 years ago?
it's not like I said like, oh, if my exam is hard, like yeah, like at that point of time, it was hard. Like
But not just exam being
Your
hard.
opinion,
Your opinions, what you
stand by
wrote.
it.
opinions change, right? So like I'm not saying that if I said like an opinion like 10 years ago is always going to be the same. I might have like arguments saying that why I'm not with that opinion.
Right.
That's it.
So okay, right. I want to talk about this with you guys as well, right? In today's day and age, you cannot have an opinion. So like you will be left on the side if you are not aligning with my opinion, or I never want to put myself in your shoes or your shoes and then think from your perspective, where are you coming from, right? And I would first want to start with you for sure. Where are we losing the the plot here? Like there is no space for opinion. You either do this or you don't do this.
I think to his point, a lot of us, and I'm including myself in it, have forgotten the logic behind doing certain things, and they've just lost the plot in what we are doing as a society, I think. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that if I don't say something, it means. But what I'm trying to say is, if you don't choose option A because you don't like it, you're automatically implying that you're choosing option B, even though if that's not your choice. That's, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah, I
right?
I think putting in the like
Dhrumit, go
easier
ahead.
word, pleasing somebody else is unpleasing you. That's what has happened. Like because you just want to be politically correct or like socially
Exactly.
correct, people started like not arguing on stuff that like you should argue. Like,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. If it's a
Like
healthy
people
argument.
like should argue about like different stuff. Like okay, why do you think something? They might have better argument or better facts that can change your opinion, but people stop doing it. So I'm not like overly powering you or like I'm not like hurting your feelings. Hurting feelings, like I feel like people have given like a lot of opinions and stuff, and a lot of like like I would say like made the feelings so high that hey, if I talk this, it's gonna be like he's gonna hurt, so I'm not gonna talk with him. But it might be better for him to also get the different facts from people.
So is it okay to have an opinion?
Oh yes,
Okay. If your opinion doesn't align with my opinion, what would we do then?
you just party your own ways. It's like what does Hinduism thinks? Like like there is a lot of different branches. Not every branch needs to be connected to the like same way. It's gonna be connected different way, but it's connected to the same tree. So it's like end of the day, like humanity, it should exist. Like you need to be human. Your opinion cannot be inhuman to somebody else. Like if my opinion hurts you
Right.
in a really, really like bad way where it's gonna make your life different, then yes, I would stop that opinion on myself. Like and I'm not gonna tell you that opinion. But if it's gonna make you better, I should give you that opinion.
How the way I look at it, like I tell a lot of I'm the eldest on my side, so I tell a lot of every time I see something like this, like younger kids or like they have so much this thing to prove a point, and I always tell them the same thing, like is this relationship or this moment more important, or you arguing and being right is more important in that situation? Because you cannot, first of all, you are in a state where you are you are so emotional that you're not actually going to calm down and understand their point of view. If you just understand that, and if you then ask yourself, is that person going to be able to understand what you're trying to say right now? If no, then just step away. Like just let them be happy. But that's what people don't do. That everyone wants to prove everyone right, or like what they're thinking is the only way.
I
And I'm not generalizing it.
no, I did not mean to go that way. I'm just saying that having opinion, I think, it's a very natural thing which you should have. Otherwise, I mean, why are you a human being if you don't have an opinion? If I'm giving you choices, and if you pick one, that means that you feel strongly about something, in which you should. You don't have to be spineless for that. But what's really happening, again, going back to my point, is that by not choosing option A, people are automatically saying that, oh, you are.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I don't think there's anything you
I
can
think
do to
like
change that.
people have lost the plot where neutral being like, okay, I can select option A for one and I can select option B for the second
Correct.
one. Because I think that both is a
Yeah.
right way of thinking.
Yep.
Not option A and option A for every single one. Because
Correct.
okay,
A
this
balance
is like,
between
you
the
know,
two. Yeah.
this is like a column with like, oh, this is all conservation, this is modernization. I can select one modern thing, one conservative idea. That's not gonna make me a modern person or conservative if I select either or. People have lost that plot. People are thinking like, okay, if you select conservative on one thing, why are you modern on this one? Like they would
Right.
question you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think what has happened, people has lost the neutrality.
Right.
Neutrality is basically if I think saying that okay, it might be correct on this situation, I would say like, oh, we want to be conservation, like conservative. And this option I think it might be modern, but like people are just like, no, you cannot select either or.
Right.
Like, they have like very hard feelings and they'll be like, oh, everybody should be aligned to this column only. Everybody should be aligned to this column only. You cannot
Right.
shift between each other.
It's
So
paper. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
so
Okay. So I think let's drop seriousness for a bit. Okay. When we came to US, we did jobs that pretty much we would have not done it if we were in India. Our start would have been quite different. It all come from like working background, and we all, it's different. So, for example, my first job was working in a dish room, and I worked for like 4 or 5 months. In the beginning, I find it a little bit awkward because I would have never anticipated to do something like that I did, right? And now I'm so happy and so proud of myself that I was actually able to not worry about that and actually do it. I would not be able to do the same thing if I was in India.
I think it is also like the biggest thing is like the social culture. What when we were growing in India,
Stigma.
stigma and stuff. There was no stigma when we came here. Nobody knew us. Like me and Neil started like jobs. Like I work in a liquor store. He was working in 7-Eleven. We used to laugh and we used to have fun
Right.
because there was nothing like because nobody knew us, to be honest, to start with. We did not have any like like if we say something or like it was just doing like manual work and just getting through the day and getting the money.
Right.
Initially I think it was like money was an important factor because I think we were like never take any money from our parents and stuff. Like we were making our ends meet. And I think we were 19, 20, at 18, 19 around like that's when you start realizing like power of money, very like not borrowing money from your parents, you're just making and then using. We remember like getting the passes for NJ Transit on discount, and we used to go to like Penn Station to buy it because you only get student discount on like certain places. And that's how like we started. Like I paying my like first phone bills over here, and like doing all the jobs gives you like there's no stigmatism or like nobody was like knows us or anything. But I think it's openness of this country, to be
Right.
honest, where they don't put you down if you're doing that job.
Right.
To be honest, like
Right.
it's the same I think mentality in India. It's like where somebody would like take garbage from your house, like the mentality is from ages like, oh, this person is not up to the standard. But when you come over here, the same person who's picking up the garbage makes more money than a person like on the Wall Street because they have the mentality over here, openness, saying that okay,
To hustle.
and like if you can do it, any like hardworking job, that does not put you down.
No job is looked down upon.
Yeah.
What do you think?
My experience is different. I actually started working when I was in India. I worked in a call center.
Yeah, me too.
So,
But I think
mine
that was like,
different.
but that is not
Call
comparable.
center is still
No.
not. It,
No,
not
but
comparable.
it's not about because you said first job, right? That's why I wanted to make sure that I started working. And in there too, right? Like he said, there was stigma. There were people who were asking my parents, "Oh, why you guys want Neil to work?" And my parents were like, "Neil's not working to contribute in the family or in the house. He's just working because he wants to." Because I was I was different. My thought process was different. The way I looked at things was different than a lot of other people. So that kind of helped me when I came here, right? And then when I came here, things were obviously very different. But there was no stigma in my mind. I didn't mind, and I worked at 7-Eleven, right? I was making $7.25. So I was like very happy doing what I wanted. I had very clear priorities that I have to work, not because I want to pay my tuition fees or anything. I wanted to work because there is life outside of college that I needed money, right? If I wanted to go travel somewhere, go to a restaurant, watch a movie, take a trip, I didn't have to rely on my parents to do that.
Yeah.
And I think both of us in that way are quite, I don't want to say we have a lot of higher self-esteem, but we are like, we don't want to rely on our families or parents for anything. I remember when I asked my parents to actually pay fees for my college, I was like, how am I gonna? I don't like that, right? Because why would they pay fees for something that I have to study? So I was thinking like this when I was 19.
Right.
So it was, the way I don't want to say the way we were raised. I think we were just,
I think in this
Different-
country there are a
different
lot of
mentality.
self-made people.
yeah.
I think this country, like, because there is no stigmatism or like not looking down on anything, that's why there are a lot of more billionaires, people, entrepreneurial skills. Not saying that there's not in India, but like if somebody has to, like, there is like out of 100 people, 10 would succeed over there. Over here is like 60 people would succeed because once you put your time, you will get your, you can reap the benefit.
It's a level playing field for everybody here. It's not like you have an advantage, or over anybody else, or vice versa. Whereas in India, I still feel that talented people are not, they don't get.
I think it's
Enough.
all about like knowing like who do you know in India?
Yeah.
That's where you like
That's
you know
what-
that
and
is
Dekha
what
dekhi.
happened. Yeah.
ऐसे गुजराती word
Yeah.
है.
No, no,
And
not
you just-
dekha dekhi. तमे कौन ओळखो जो?
Yeah. Tamari. Yeah.
Like who do you know? Like like if you want to get a job,
yeah.
like you can get certain amount of jobs, but like if you want to get somewhere, I think like everybody expects like, oh, what I'm gonna get like from you. That why would I hire you? Over here is like, oh, if I have this technical need, this is the person who can do it. I'll hire you.
So said
Doesn't
differently, if we are both applying for a job, and this is my dad's company, he's not going to hire him. He's going to hire me. That's the
Right.
difference.
Nepotism.
Nepotism, kind of a thing, right?
Nepotism, like, but
in
it's
the-
like,
it-
oh,
it-
if I know somebody, okay, I can hook you
Yeah,
up and
but
get you stuff. Not
same
hook up
thing.
and the other, but like,
You said it,
Yeah,
not me.
twice.
yeah.
But
No, I
no,
didn't say
I-
you.
No,
he said-
I started
yeah,
it.
no,
I started
twice,
it.
twice.
He's continuing the
But
legacy.
but to his point, that's what is not fair, I think, in my opinion. And I can say that easily here because I'm sitting here. I'm not competing with people there, but it's
So I
what
think
it
this is like another segue in a way. Would you have come to US if you did not get like the way you came in? Like personally, I would say like I would not, because I've never thought about like living like maybe at that point when I was like 19 years old or like 18, like I never thought like, oh, living in India. Like I got it like luckily and I'm here. I think it's all like just things getting
Happened.
into place.
Yeah.
Like you being at the right time at the right place. For me, like I would never have thought like like getting out or something. I was like,
I did not. I don't know what I would have done. I was 18.
yeah, but
Right, I
like you
just-
would not like, okay, there are people who are 18 and who knew that they don't want to live or they want to go out and abroad and study, and they left like when they were
So-
17, 18.
He's talking about me. So I always wanted to. I always was clear. I was not going to stay.
No, I'm not
in
talking
India.
about you like personally. I have known.
No, but
so
I'm telling
many-
you from my experience
like
that
they were like they went to Australia, some went to like United Kingdom, like different countries because they don't want to like they wanted to go out. For some reason, I did not have that urge to get out, or maybe I was like kuwe ka mendak, to be honest. Like I didn't knew like a lot of stuff, to be honest, that I know right now, and I still don't know a lot of stuff.
But I mean, I will tell you. I'll do even one better, right? I came here. I was always clear. I wanted to leave India. I wasn't clear. I wanted to come to US. I think
Yeah,
Australia was on the
exactly.
plate. Anything was on the plate, right? I just wanted to leave from there so that again, opportunity, just self. You don't grow. You don't want to stay with the kind of family I am in. Like my family is like we have a big family. Everyone's like very well to do. They're touchwood in their blessed state right now, right? Again, I don't know what they are fighting in their own side. From outside, everything looks glittery and everything. I didn't want to again do whatever education I got. I wanted to just make my own destiny for myself, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to do that in India for sure. I wanted, and that's why I stumbled upon here. After my first 2 semesters, I did want to go back to India. I was like, I'm going to finish my education. I can't live life like this. I mean, India, whatever life it is, it's still like I'm with my parents and then I have a good life. Here, I did not. Then I got introduced and I started, giving it my all. Like you said, right in the beginning, if you give it your all, you will realize what you're not missing. When I started doing that, it opened up my perspective. That okay, no, this country, it's very hard for you to fail. because you're getting a level playing field. Like somebody who is much bigger than me is going to be the same starting line as me, and even if I fail, there are opportunities here. Like you can not succeed here, in your own self. So I kind of had, I was always clear. I wanted to.
Yeah,
do.
I think like for me, I think it just like I was there. My parents were going, so I
Yeah.
went. Then they went back. I stayed because I was like, okay, I just want to get it done. I think the like one person told me the 5-year rule. If you stay in a country for 5 years, in that first 5 years, it's make or break. Either you go back in that 5 years or you stay in that country forever.
Yeah.
Good analogy.
Yeah. You would have not thought about it.
I
That-
did not. I was all like 18, 19
Yeah.
when this decision was made. And then I just went along with it. And then things happened.
Right.
And then family happened, friends happened.
Right.
And then you were talking about not leaving a country. I did not even leave the city that I went to college in. I'm still in Newark after like God knows 16 years, right? I
Yeah.
went to Newark for my college.
It's
Then I
destiny.
left, exactly. And then I left Newark. Then I came back and it's been like, what, 7-8 years now.
Yeah.
So I like generally in life also, I just take things as they come. And this was supposed to happen and it happened.
So this is we are the Clean Slate Showrunners signing off. Please like, share, and subscribe, and see you guys on the next episode. Have a good one. All right.
Hey, what are those?
But the question is, what are those? What are those people who are just watching the video, not subscribing to the channel, not liking the video, and not even sharing it? Please do all of that. Help your brother out. Get me to 1,000 subscribers. That's my first goal. There are many more videos planned, so I'll see you in the next video. Signing off.